The rise of becoming an influencer can be an easy path for some that know what they're passionate about, but for many they will do anything and everything to get that clout, even if it means never being present with their loved ones. We're back, folks, for another edition of Reddit exposing the dark secrets of influencers, but first, if you could do us a big favor and please tap that like button, we'd really appreciate it. And with that out of the way, let's begin. Coming at number 10, chronically unemployed. A big trap that influencers fall into is comparing themselves to other influencers. Even if they are flaunting a life of luxury themselves, behind the scenes they can be quite frustrated by not seeing the growth that they want. This Reddit user pulls the curtain aside on what it's like being friends with an influencer who is upset with their position but acts like everything is fine. Pretty mundane. Honestly, my friend is conventionally attractive, and if you look at her social media, you'd think she were a supermodel millionaire who goes on tons of trips. She's actually chronically unemployed and has an income of less than 10k a year. Her boyfriend makes about 60k a year, which is enough to afford them a very nice 3.5 bedroom apartment, and she has tons of props she uses to make each room look different from day to day, so it seems like she's always in a new exotic place. They take 2 trips a year to fun tropical places in which she takes many photos and posts them as different places throughout the year. She's a very kind, considerate, sparkling personality, but whenever we hang out, I tend to be a shoulder to cry on as she laments about her lack of success in life. It's quite sad, honestly, but with her creativity and personality, I think she'll achieve her dreams eventually. Despite this being relatively sad, it's still important to note that this friend at least has hope that their influencer pal will achieve their dreams. Coming number 9, YouTuber assistant. Just because someone has a following on YouTube doesn't mean that they should be treated like royalty. In fact, royalty shouldn't be treated like royalty. That's my opinion though. This YouTuber assistant shared some pretty eye-opening stuff about what it was like to work with them behind the scenes, and I gotta say, none of it really surprised me. Posting their story to Reddit, they said, "I worked with YouTube influencers in my last job with an agency that paired sponsors with these celebrities. I basically did the grunt work like insuring hotels, plane tickets, getting coffee, running errands, and meeting with the talent to ensure they were where they needed to be. Over time, you make friends with others who are in those positions, especially when you're running errands for some entitled pseudo-celebrities. The nicest YouTubers were the animators, always calm and understanding. The worst were the family vloggers. I've met all the big ones, and I never met one that wasn't a completely different person off camera. The kids are always spoiled and no one disciplines them, so they're running around breaking things or acting like idiots. And no one can yell at them lest their influencer parents find out." Close second is makeup YouTubers. I just love that they threw some shade at the makeup YouTubers in there too. Coming number 8, clickbait. Giving us another reason to hate family vloggers, this Reddit user completely exposed these small town influencers. Nothing says clueless like trying to capitalize on a tragedy for views. They go on to say, "I'm from a small town and a family vlogger moved here a few years ago. A while back there was a bad wildfire about 20 to 30 miles away from us. This fire was particularly bad, people were dying, losing homes, etc. But luckily it was pretty far from us and we weren't in any danger. You could smell the smoke, but that was it. However, this family posted a total clickbait, 'We had to evacuate, they told us to leave, wildfire vlog.' This really pissed off everyone who lived here since they were exploiting and profiting off a lie when people are actually losing everything. They were called out on all their platforms but would delete those comments." I really hate that too, when people just delete all of their negative comments. It's like, just don't look at them. Don't look at the comments. Coming number 7, fake it till you make it. We've all heard of the saying fake it until you make it, but this influencer friend really took things way too far without ever considering the repercussions. There's this idea that some people can be delusionally optimistic and achieve greatness because of how high they set the bar for themselves. Unfortunately, sometimes reality doesn't care about your delusions and will set you straight if you're not paying attention. Sadly, this is exactly what happened with our next story, and I honestly don't know if this Reddit user's friend will ever see the error of their ways. They go on to say, "I post travel photos and have about 200 followers, 200, not 2,000 or higher. My friend somehow thought that was influencer status and decided to copy me, except she quit her job so she could travel more and grow her own brand. In 2020, she lost her apartment, her car, and still hasn't found a job, but calls herself a professional influencer all the same. God, I really hope she didn't order business cards with the title professional influencer on them. That's a mistake. That's a mistake." Coming number 6, can't stop, won't stop. The inability for an influencer to take 3 seconds to just live in the present will 100% be why they burn out. No one can be on the internet 24/7, and constantly worrying about your image online can lead to a myriad of different insecurities. Whereas if you lived in the moment and didn't care what people thought about you, you could open up a whole new world of possibilities. However, that is just not the case with our next story. This Reddit user details her frustrations with her influencer friend and says, "So incredibly annoying. I actually ended up cutting her off because everything had to be a photo opportunity. We could never just go out to lunch or see a movie without it turning into a photo shoot. She never did anything with our friend group unless it was an aesthetic, and even then she was so focused on getting us to take photos that A, she didn't get to enjoy the activity, and B, it started bringing everyone else down because they couldn't participate either. And this sounds so petty, but she could never just show up in a t-shirt and leggings because photos, obviously. Like even sleepovers and movie nights had to be a big production, and sometimes you just need to stuff your face with popcorn and look like a slob. It's good for the soul." She'd also complained a lot about how hard her job was. Our friendship group at the time consisted of an EMT, 2 nurses, a teacher, and me, who was juggling university, tutoring, and working retail. I'm sure she had challenges, and all jobs are hard sometimes, but girl, you get paid to take selfies with free stuff and show up at events looking pretty. I mean, she's not wrong. The last thing that you should be doing is complaining if you make money from just being yourself. Don't complain. Don't do that. Coming number 5, vacation nightmare. Going on vacation with other people can be stressful enough. Now imagine going on vacation with influencers. Goodbye whatever plans you thought you had. Even best friends fight on vacation, and now add to that someone who is only there to fake a personality and share the entire trip to their legion of fans. This Reddit user described what I have titled a vacation nightmare, and they go on to say, everything is fake. The attitude, the mannerisms, everything. It sounds stupid until you realize they clear close to 7 figures a year. One time we vacationed with them, and when we were out to dinner, they said to us, 1 second, we need to go film a bit, and they went from our friends who are calm and nice to the, hey guys, we're here in the beautiful south of France. Annoying people everyone loves to hate. That's all we need to say on that one. Everyone loves to hate those people for sure. I have seen so many influencers where they're just so bummed out, and then they go to take a selfie and it's big smiles, camera goes away, and it's back to Just be yourself. Coming number 4, a fake lease on life. Similar to the fake it till you make it post, this influencer really was exposed for the person that he actually was. The sad thing is that when you fake it, if you can't keep up the cost of faking it, you will fall victim to the monster that you've created all on your own. This Reddit user decided to expose an anonymous Instagram famous dude and said, one of my best friends dated a really Insta famous guy. He invited us to his house for a Christmas party, and this is when I realized how fake social media was. The guy didn't have the car he paraded on social media, he leased it, took several photo shoots with it, and then gave it back. His house was in a different city than he claimed. I don't think it was for security reasons though. He said he lived in a very rich city, but his house was in a more modest place. He asked me to send him the videos I took at the party, posted them, and didn't even tag me because I didn't have enough followers. The worst part was that all the social media people at the party just kept yelling over each other trying to make the next big joke, but none of them were funny. Dude has millions of people fooled. Also, as a side note, you would be shocked by the amount of influencers that simply rent a fancy car, take photos with it, and then pretend that they bought it. Shocked. Coming number 3, behind the curtain. Now this whole list is essentially us peering behind the curtain that influencers present, but this next one really hits the nail on the head. And if you want to be an influencer, you should probably heed this Reddit user's warning. They go on to say, sad, you watch them slowly mentally degrade, always ends in full-blown narcissistic personality disorder or them having literally zero self-confidence. Their goal is to meet artificial metrics in terms of likes, views, follows. For a lot of them, that's their definition of success, goal in life, and if they're not hitting it, they have failed as people in their minds. So they go one of 2 routes. Number 1 is thinking that they're really not good enough and don't deserve to be liked, which leads to a total lack of confidence and then becoming a shell of a person that they were. And number 2 is narcissism, where they come to the conclusion that they're the best person ever and no one else knows what they're talking about, and every single flaw, fault, or mistakes they have made is someone else's fault. Couldn't agree more. Heed this warning. In number 2, taste and waste. Growing up, we could never waste food. From a young age, I realized how hard my parents worked to keep the lights on and feed me that I would have felt terrible wasting anything that they gave me. That's why this next story really, I don't know, it makes my blood start to boil. The fact that someone can just take a picture of their food and then do not eat that food blows my mind. Blows my friggin' mind. But I digress. Allow me to tell this Reddit user's story so you can understand where I'm coming from. They go on to say, I've driven 3 hours, hiked 1 hour, they took a couple of photos over about 5 minutes and then complained that they were ready to go home. Sometimes they will buy unhealthy but grammable food, take photos of them licking it, and then throwing it out. I also have a friend who went overseas will set alarms for like 3 a.m. to wake up and post their photos from the day at the peak time back home. I haven't seen them for a while. There's obviously a lot wrong with all of this, but it's the throwing out food that really angers me. So many people around the world are starving and you're just going to throw it out. I will never understand this logic, or lack thereof. Last but certainly not least, our number 1 spot, self-worth. Sometimes these Reddit users are not just complaining about their influencer friends, sometimes we find influencers themselves coming forward with how this once dream job turned into a nightmare for them. This influencer goes on to tell their story and says, not a friend of an influencer, but I am an influencer, I guess. I have 150K on YouTube and it was so much fun to start with, but now all I feel is constant pressure. If I make one mistake, I could lose everything I've spent years building. I'm never sure whether new friends like me for me or because they want clout. Even though my content is focused on true crime and not me, having that many people watch you and comment on your appearance, the way you talk, etc. can really mess you up. Completely distorts your idea of self if you don't find ways to step back. Having non-social media friends really helps bring you back to earth and trying to treat it as a typical 9 to 5. Moderation, I believe, though, is important in everything you do, and that includes things you're passionate about. Also, this influencer highlights just how important it is to have self-worth. Plus, remember that lions do not lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. Whether it's negative or or positive comments, it should all be viewed the same level as some rando on the street yelling at you. That's how comments should be viewed, ignored. But I love you guys are great. Either way guys, that has been the top 10 influencer dark secrets exposed part 2, and before we get out of here, I'm gonna check out some of your comments from the video titled Top 10 Influencers Exposed for Living Fake Lives Part 5. Part 5. How did we get to part 5? Smiley Mama 04 says, I have a feeling Johnny is working on a part 6 for us. You have a feeling? I probably will. Arthur Tapia says, I heard Johnny bought some shoes from a drug dealer and I don't know what he laced them with, but he was tripping all day. Arthur, your jokes will forever make it in the comment section. Forever. As long as they're good. Peachy Panda 28 says, Detective Johnny, woo, I love it. Hey, I got a new name. Todd Bolo says, this is 2021, I am getting exposed, you are getting exposed, we're all getting exposed. Imagine if Oprah just started canceling people like that. You're canceled, and you're canceled, and you're canceled. Joni Petter says, could you talk a little faster? I mean, I could. Is that what the people want? You guys want me to talk faster than I already do? Maybe. We'll try it on the next one. But guys, that is the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy, YouTube. Or at least try.